Hello again from my front porch. Obviously, this is not the front porch. Obviously, well, technically I'm in Daphne, Alabama. I'm here. Actually, my company is involved with building a very large aluminum recycling plant over in Bay Minette, Alabama, but my hotel is here in Daphne. Actually, it's in a town called Spanish Fort, which is connected to Daphne. It's an interesting area of the country to be in, but it's beautiful and it's not much warmer. We got snow in Iowa as I was trying to fly out to come down here a couple of days ago, and so it's definitely much nicer down here than it is up in Iowa. But the project that we're building over in Bay Minette, it's aluminum, as I said, aluminum recycling, but that kind of understates it. It's a big, massive undertaking. I mean, like, for example, there's a perimeter road that drives around that project, and if you get on that perimeter road and drive the full perimeter, it's 2 miles. You heard me right, 2 miles is the perimeter around that project. That's how massive this thing is. So and aluminum is one of those things that you can endlessly recycle it. You know, you make it into aluminum cans, and then they take the cans back to get recycled, and then then the aluminum gets used to make siding, or the aluminum gets used to make, whatever other stuff, and you just keep recycling it. And so that's why all this money is being invested in this plant. But anyway, the reason that I wanted to come out here because I mean, you don't get a view like this back in Iowa. So the setting has really very little to do with the topic. I was watching a comedian the other day, a guy named Tim Hawkins, and he was doing this riff on Job's wife. Now, if you know the story of Job from the Bible, Job is this guy who's fairly well off, very wealthy. He's got pretty much everything that you could ever want, large family and everything. And the devil goes to God and starts complaining about how God just coddles people, and that's the reason they follow him. And God says, no, like, for example, look at my man Job here. Look how good he is. And the devil says, well, of course he loves you. Look at everything he has. If you'd let me just mess with him a little bit, I'll prove to you that he's only following you because of the goodies. That if you take the goodies away, he won't follow you anymore. And so God says, you know what? My money's on Job, so go ahead. You can do. You just you put some limits what the devil can't do, but within these limits, go ahead and test him. You'll see you're wrong. And so the devil does that. Now in the process, Job literally loses everything. He loses his health, loses all of his wealth, everything that he owns, livestock, everything. And as I said, his health, he's got boils and all kinds of just miserable stuff. And he has children, I think 10 children, and they all die. And it's just horrible, horrible. And through all of this, Job proves God right. Job never turns on God. He never says, "Hey, what's the deal? I want to," But the thing that is interesting during the story, during this tale of Job, he has friends who show up and they counsel him to turn against God. And his wife, he loses everything. This is what Tim Hawkins jokes about. In fact, you know what? Here, hold on. Before I go into my point, I'm just going to insert here a little clip of this routine from Tim Hawkins. I'm not trying to steal it. I'm not trying to take credit for it. I'll put the information there of his name on it. But just hear what he says, because it is kind of amusing. But I wanna build off of that. So here, see what Tim Hawkins, the comedian, what he had to say about Job and Job's wife.
But I just got blessed with a good wife. Not every guy has a good wife. Sorry. I mean, think about Job in the Old Testament. Think about Job's wife. She must have been a real piece of work. I mean, the devil took everything from Job, man. Killed his kids, killed his servants, killed his livestock, covered Job in boils and sores. But his wife did not die. That's saying something right there, isn't it? Like, hey, devil, Job's wife's right over there. I know. Trust me, leave her. I know what I'm doing.
So you see why it is amusing. It is funny. But it is easy to disown Job. I mean, really, you think about it. Everything of value, everything that mattered to Job is taken away except his wife. It is easy to go, was that on purpose? But the reality is that she lost everything too, just like Job. Now, she didn't lose her health, but she, I mean, she lost her children that she bore. The life that she knew was obliterated. So, I mean, she had a lot going on that she had reason to be upset too. But she did not have the relationship with God that caused her to still hold to her faith like Job did. That's the point there. But it's easy to rag on Job's wife. I'm not sure that many of us would be much different, that we'd be much better. But realistically, rather than being his helper, rather than standing beside him during what he was going through, she literally advises him to just curse God and die. That's, whew, wow, that's with helpers like that, wow. But ultimately, after he passes this test, he gets everything back and then some, including he gets more kids. He doesn't get back the kids that he had; they're gone, and there's the heartache that goes with that. But he does get more kids, but with the same wife, as far as we know. There's no indication that they split up as a result of any of this. So, his story goes on with her as his wife. So don't be quite so harsh on her. But here's where I wanted to go with this. Here's what all this pulled out for me. Because we're just wrapping up the Christmas holiday season, the gift-giving time. In fact, for some of us, it's not even completely done yet. My son and I, and his girlfriend Natasha, we haven't done our Christmas yet. Just scheduling-wise, it just hasn't worked out yet. So here we are after the first of the year, and we haven't done that yet. So we'll still be doing ours. But in the gift-giving situation, a lot of times you open up and you go, "Oh, this is really great," but sometimes you get that gift that you go, "Really? You got me this? Really? Really?" and some people are blunt and they're just like, "What is this? Why did you give me this?" But most people try to be at least considerate to the gift giver, and they will say something like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting this." Something just really over the top insincere, but trying to be nice. But when you really stop and think about gifts, and I don't just mean like the trivial little things that we get during gift-giving times, but not every gift you open up is a gift you wanted. Not every gift that you receive is a gift that you see immediate value in. And I think I used to have a leader who used to say that all feedback is a gift. Sometimes you don't want it, but it's still a gift because now you have a chance to do something with that. And it's a valid point. But I got to thinking about this, just looking back over the last year and looking ahead to the year in front of us, and I'm thinking, there are situations and things that will happen that or have happened that I would not have chosen. That if I was given the opportunity to script it out, that's not the way I would have scripted it to go. And yet, even the problematic ones, ultimately, in most situations, there is good that comes out of it. At the very least, there's a learning opportunity. But sometimes, if you weren't pushed into having to change, you might not have made the change that turned out good. I think back on when I was at a couple of different times in my professional life where I've been laid off, and I was fairly content at the company that I was at, and was trying to put down my roots and make commitment. I wasn't completely 100% happy, but happy enough. I can make this all work. And then all of a sudden, the rug gets pulled out from under me. I get laid off, and I got to go find another job, go find something else to go do. And those are stressful times. And yet, with each of those times, the next thing I went to was more in my wheelhouse and actually was an improvement. Made me feel better about the work I was doing. Was an enhancement for me. But I wouldn't have gone after that if I hadn't been forced into doing that. Did I see that layoff as a gift that I wanted? No. But as it turned out, it was a gift that was good for me. And as we go into this year ahead, and I'm not just talking about the gifts you open if you're still having Christmas times like my son and I will be doing, but just life in general as it gives us gifts, some that we'll want, some that we may not want, even the gifts that you don't want. Stop and consider, is there something in here though that I need? And for that matter, when you get the gifts that you do want, sometimes you find out that wasn't really what you needed. And in fact, sometimes it's an example of be careful what you ask for, because you get it and then, oh, it turns out I didn't really want that. So don't judge based on whether you're getting exactly what you want to the script that you would have written, that would have been the way that if you would have mapped out, here's my list of everything I want just that. If what you get in life doesn't match up with that list completely, stop and consider the benefit you may have from getting what you hadn't thought of, because sometimes that's the best stuff. And sometimes the situations that we find ourselves swerved into turn out to be incredible opportunities we would have never had. Sometimes the people that we just randomly meet for no particular reason, just out of the blue, turn out to be some of the finest, best, most wonderful people in our lives. And don't just dismiss something because you didn't expect it, or because it was a gift that you opened and went, oh, well, thank you so much. Because that could be the gift that literally changes your life. All right. Well, as much as this is nice here, I unfortunately do have to get back to Iowa, and I've got a bunch of other travel to many other places in the near future. But today I have to get back on a plane and fly back home. So long, Alabama. But I'll be back here quite a bit. So I'll see you again soon, and I'll see you all next time from my front porch.